Hello and welcome back to the show, Stupid Questions, with me, your host, Seth. So today we're going to be talking with Brenton Ford. This is his round two interview. For those who may have not heard it, it was literally years ago, back, I think around episode 30 or so when I recorded with him for the first time. But he is the man, the myth, the legend behind Effortless Swimming. So if you haven't seen him on YouTube, go check them out. Check him out on Instagram. He does a lot of content around swimming, camps, and now some anti-fog goggles. So some cool stuff that he's talking about and doing. We dive in deep, catching up, talk a lot about swimming for like the first 30 or 40 minutes or so, but then we get into more of some of the deeper existential questions about life that I love asking people. So yeah, really appreciate Brenton for coming on and giving me the opportunity to reconnect with him. Yeah, check out the show notes for all of his stuff, for all of my stuff. Episode 200 is coming up. So if you want to submit some ideas, do so at the link in the show notes. And I just realized that I have not been linking that for past episodes, so I need to make sure to actually link that. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate your time. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to a round two interview with Brenton Ford. So I did Ironman California on Sunday. Today went out to just go get some sunshine, and to get out of our little neighborhood cul-de-sac area, you have to do like probably a 300-foot climb, less than a mile. So I'm like, oh my goodness. And my heart rate's getting up to just like 130, and it's like, stop now. You're going to die.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How did you go?
Pretty good. So it's Ironman California. I think it's known to be like the fastest, one of the fastest courses in North America. The bike literally has like less than 1,000 feet of vertical gain over the entire 112 miles. So that was really fast. So PR'd that, obviously. PR'd the swims downriver. The run was not quite a PR. I ended up having a little IT band issue, man, but I stopped to walk quite a bit. But it was a super fun day. Going into it, I was just like, I'm going to enjoy this no matter what, and was saying stuff out loud, like a couple of things. One, like, this is a gift. And every time I would say like that out loud, I kid you not, I would run faster. So yeah, it was cool. It was a good experience. They always hurt, and you're like, I don't know why in the world I'm doing this. Kind of mile 20 into the marathon, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you done one?
That's awesome. Just one Ironman, and in my marathon swim that I did, which was a 20K swim, I said a similar thing. Like 13Ks in, I was getting really cold, and I had to tell myself, like, you're lucky to be here. You're lucky to be here, even though I was freaking hating it, because I was just starting to get hypothermic. But just have to be positive. Just remind yourself that it's a gift. Yeah, that's awesome. So how many have you done?
This was my third one. I did one 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago, and then the last one was such a tough experience that I was like, I think I need some time off of this. Like, my mindset wasn't great. I kind of had already been defeated the morning of, just mentally, before I even started the race. And even though, like, to that point, up into the swim and bike, like, I totally PR'd, but mentally I gave up way too early, and it ended up being just like a suffer fest of, like, I took 2 full IV bags at the end. Like, it was absolutely nothing. Yeah, I was in a bad way.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude.
Probably still feeling it now too, huh?
Yeah,
like a few days later.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I don't, like, mentally, I think there's a little bit of brain fog. So I'm 33 now. Last time I was 31, and I feel like I can feel the age a little bit more, to be honest. But yeah, no, it was good, and I'm feeling okay. My legs are definitely sore, but it's good soreness all around. It's not like, oh, I'm definitely injured or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man. That's brutal. I said to my wife when I crossed the finish line, never let me do that again. No matter what I say to you, never let me do it again.
Don't let me forget how bad this hurts.
Yeah, it's so bad. Yeah, it never hurt that much. It's good fitness though. Like I really enjoyed being that lean and that fit, and you feel like you could go forever.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't like a piece of the draw. Especially when I first got into this stuff, it was body image probably a little too much, or actually it was too much. Like, I was really focused on that. But as I get into this, like, oh yeah, like I'm pretty fit. Like, I look lean. Everybody likes to look good. Like, there's a part of the self identity I think that can be wrapped up into that, as long as it's not too much. But yeah, it does feel nice. But I'm also looking forward to, like, now an off season of just go run some trails, do some more mountain biking, take a little more risk, that I'm not like, oh, I don't want to mess up a training block. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just be able to enjoy staying fit or getting fit and just doing some different stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Cool.
what I've enjoyed for the last 8 years is just not having a big event to train for, and
Yeah.
just I can do whatever I sort of feel like, whether
Yeah.
it's surfing or running or swimming, and yeah, it's quite nice to just have options and not have to do stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm 38 now, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I'd go in an Ironman. I could certainly do it again, but I think I'd feel it a lot more than I would
Yeah.
at 28. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No
different
kidding.
story.
So what are you doing right now that's like fun in terms of exercise and staying active or a hobby? Like what's the thing that's taken up the interest in your headspace?
I mean, I usually it's always around like swimming. I'll still swim 3 times a week minimum with the squad, and then if the surf's good, I'll surf. If it's not, then I'll run, and I'll go to the gym a couple times a week. So it's usually just those 4 things that I'm just doing, but
Yeah.
there's no real pressure on doing any of them. But yeah, I just as long as I'm doing something every day, I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and if the surf is good, then I will just sort of scrap other stuff to do that if I have to, because that's kind of main priority. But yeah, I don't know. I love to just hurt myself. I love to train hard and
Type 2 fun.
yeah. It's so it doesn't matter in which way that is, but yeah, they're the 4 things I do. I've got a mountain bike, but it collects a lot of dust in the garage at the moment.
Yeah. Do you
I'm
have a
not very good at
desire? Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have a desire to get better at it? Let's say you want to get back out again, or is it just kind of a thing that's falling away?
Yeah, just it's a thing that falls away. It's just I love being in the ocean, so surfing always takes priority.
Yeah, cool. Surfing's awesome. Yeah, I was in New Zealand for Worlds. Let's see, back it's almost a year ago now, which is crazy. But got to do some surfing off the coast there in New Zealand and a few different places. And man, surfing. If I could live on the beach, if I ever get that opportunity where there's good surfing, I think I may do that because there's just I don't know. There's something about surfing that's just unlike really any other sport. Truly, I mean, I guess maybe you can compare it to swimming a little bit, but once you get up and just feeling, I don't know, joining forces with the ocean to do something amazing is pretty cool. I know it sounds kind of woo-woo, but that's what it is.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is, and it's like I remember hearing this guy who was on the Rich Roll podcast, and he was into rollerblading or roller skating, and he was a doctor as well, and he was explaining that when you sort of go from left skate to right skate, you get this acceleration, and there's something in your eardrums that sort of feels that, and you get this chemical release of some sort. And it's the same thing with surfing. So it's when you get this change in speed, and like you do it when you're pumping up and down the wave. So there's that, as well as just like riding this energy that's come from thousands of miles away too. So it's I don't know. There's something really cool to it. Especially once you get good at it, and it's like you're guaranteed to catch waves and stuff. It's I don't know. I'm hooked on it. I've been hooked for 20 years.
Yeah. So you learned a little bit later in life too, though. I guess 18.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah.
I learned, and then especially moving down to the coast 5 years ago, just gotten so much better being able to surf multiple times a week.
Yeah. It keeps you fit, and it's so fun.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool, man. So really quick, I guess I'll just say officially, thanks so much for coming back on. I was just looking just briefly. I guess it was like episode, now I'm forgetting, I think 38 or 35 that you came on my podcast. It'll be 2 years in January, actually, which is kind of crazy.
Far out.
Yeah. I
Jeez,
think we
flies, huh?
probably recorded in I want to say December or November. So it's just crazy. So that begs me to ask the question. What has happened in 2 years? I mean, your life has obviously changed to some degree. You're an older, wiser man now. We're approaching 40. How you going?
Hey, go easy.
Yeah.
Just rub it all in. What's been happening? I guess for me with coaching and effortless swimming, we just continued to kind of grow that and just try and do that a lot better. So I just got back from a camp in the Maldives with Sharon Van Ruvendal, who was Olympic champion in the 10K last year. So running that trip with her, I learnt so much from her, and I can see why she was Olympic champion. She's just so switched on to how her body works, what she needed to do on land, what she needed to do in the water, and so like learning from someone like her, I feel like has really helped upgrade my coaching and my knowledge.
That's
So
awesome.
we're just looking to get better at coaching, and then also just trying to improve like the clinics that we do by adjusting those a little bit. And then we've also started to bring out like these new anti-fog goggles and add a few things like that to what we offer, because it all sort of fits in this like on our podcast. It's help people swim better, live a better life, and and just improve their swimming. And so it all sort of falls under that category of like, all right, if you can enjoy your swimming more by seeing clearly with these goggles, if we can help you with your technique and give you good experiences on these camps, to me that's kind of what I want to be able to offer. So we've just been doing that really, and going to new locations. Got some camps in Tahiti next year, Japan, and a few others. A few other spots. So just really enjoying what I'm doing with Effortless Swimming. So it's been good.
Yeah.
And I see you've had a lot of pretty amazing guests on the podcast too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been great. I tell the people this quite frequently, but if I was to quit doing it tomorrow by choice or by force, I would have counted it all a success. Just the network alone has been phenomenal. The amount of perspectives that I've gained from those within the triathlon or endurance world industry and outside of it, especially now as I'm trying to expand out a little bit more, has been invaluable to my life. And I feel like it's honestly a selfish thing. Like I try to have people on, and there's only been maybe one or two instances where I've kind of made the mistake where I didn't follow this tenet principle, but just based on curiosity. I love being curious about another person's perspectives and experience. So yeah, it's been great. And I'm super pumped that you also are continuing to like find joy in what you're doing. It's pretty neat.
Well, it's probably a similar thing. Like when I was young, I was always watching videos and DVDs of like Ian Thorpe and Michael Phelps and trying to figure out how to swim faster. Yeah. And that was as a teenager, and it's just continued on through my later years. So it's that curiosity of what makes people fast, what makes them better, and also just finding out or even just communication skills and how do I coach better? How do I deliver this message in a different or a better way? Yeah. And so always just trying to improve on things. And like I think I'm hopefully a good coach, but I still think I've got so much to improve. And that kind of that drives me, because I see other people coaching and I go, geez, like they're really good at like connecting with that person, and maybe I could get a lot better at that side of things. So always just trying to improve on that, because I think there's a lot of holes where I could get better. So it's like, I think it's like doing your teeth. You don't just brush your teeth once and you're done. Same with coaching. It's like you've got to try and work on these things every single day. So that's what keeps me going, and I've done it for nearly 20 years now, but still enjoy it. So I can't see it stopping.
Yeah. On two things. First question, kind of on what you just said a little bit with coaching, and then even just a few minutes ago, you said you had on this Olympian. What's her name again? She was helping do the coaching.
Sharon Van Ruvendale.
Sharon Van Ruvendale. Okay. I don't really know her. Can't even pronounce her last name, but I take your word for it. She's really good swimming. As she's like helping you and you're getting a feel for things, like you said, I can definitely improve as a coach. As a coach, like how do you know when you're getting better as a coach? Because I feel like sometimes it would be easy to say, if my athlete's doing well, then I'm doing well. If they're not doing well, then I'm not doing well, which isn't necessarily always true. So for you, like what is some advice that you could give to people on knowing, how are you getting better at being a coach or not?
Well, that's a good question. Some of it is from some of it's from the feedback that I get. So people emailing me after doing a clinic or a camp, or seeing the results that we get on a camp. That's certainly one way. But also, I mean, with these camps and stuff that we do, I work with different coaches, and I see the way that they are able to deliver things or get their point across. And I look at that and I go, okay, they're really good in these different aspects that I think I'm probably not quite as good at. And so just even like identifying that, and then I'll write down, all right, well, what are they doing that's helping them like connect with this person? And I'll write that down and I'll say, all right, well, if I want to get better at that, then I probably have to do X, Y, and Z. So like I really like to take notes and then try to make those changes going forwards. Just even being aware that there are holes to my game is probably one. But it is hard in terms of results. Like everyone is different, and some people improve straight away. Some people it will take them 6 to 12 months. But also having people come back, come back to clinics, come back to camps. That to me is a sign that I'm doing something right with my coaching, whether or not they've really improved or not. Because in the end, it's down to them to do the things that we're recommending, and so. Yeah, that's not a reflection on your coaching, whether or not they're getting better, but more, are they enjoying their swimming? Are they enjoy the challenge of trying to get better, and then do they want to come back? So I like to sort of base it more on that. Do they want to come back to the stuff that we offer? And we get so many people coming back to clinics every single year, or back to camps every year, because because I think they enjoy it. And they like being around us. So yeah, that's more what I sort of judge it off, because it is hard to get everyone to improve straight away, especially if they're in their 50s or 60s, they're really stiff and all of that. Mobility is a big part of it, especially with swimming. So yeah, there's only so much we can do in a week's time.
Yeah, no kidding. Good answers. So I'm also curious though for me, yeah, I'll just speak from my experience, and I'm curious if you've ever had an athlete like this, because everyone is so incredibly different. Like you're talking about mobility, do they enjoy swimming? When did they learn how to swim? The list goes on for the amount of variables that you could input to the situation to give a different outcome. But for me, like I didn't grow up swimming per se, but I enjoyed getting in the water and messing around with my friends, and who can hold their breath the longest and swim, the length of the pool underwater, all of that kind of stuff. So I feel like that definitely helped to develop me to a certain degree. But as I've gotten more into triathlon, and where swimming is like a discipline that you want to try to master to the best of your ability, as I have done it more over time, especially of coaching myself in the past year and a half now, this is going to sound so intuitively backwards, but my race times have gotten faster, and my overall swimming, I would say, in terms of like yardage, has actually gone down. I try to keep my frequency in the pool up, but I'm wondering, like from your experience, if someone is going and they're improving in the pool, they're improving in their sessions, they maybe even feel better about it, but their race times or their competition times or whatever, time trial times aren't improving. Like, is there something that's missing? Like, do you see, like with my experience, is that something that you see with other people? If they care about it less to some degree or don't stress about it as much, they swim better. Like, what are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. And I see it quite regularly in people when they, particularly in maybe racing, like they care a lot. And so if they're hyper aware of their technique and they're trying to get everything perfect, that's when they tend to get a little bit too tense and a little bit too stiff. And so the approach that I think you need to take in the water is you need to be relaxed, and you kind of just need to find your rhythm and find your flow. But on the other side of that, obviously technique is important. And so we need to put some attention on that. But if it's too much, then you're just not going to move well. And so I think that, like, I don't care so much what happens. That lends itself really well to racing well, because you kind of just get into the zone and find your rhythm, especially in open water, especially when there's other people around. You can't be perfect with your stroke. So I think that mentality is quite helpful in a way. Whereas a swimmer who is anxious and not wanting to stuff up, they just have this timidness about them that doesn't help them when it comes to racing. So, that's normally the case, where someone who might be improving and doing the work in the pool and in training, they might be looking good there, but then when it comes to racing, they're trying to control things too much. So just like the advice I often give to swimmers who I'm coaching is just like, let it go. Just like, get in the race, and let's just get into this nice flow. Maybe there's a song or there's a beat or a rhythm that you find really works for you. Get into that zone. in the back of your mind, have something technique related there. Like maybe you need to just work on length. Okay, keep that in mind, but let's just get into the zone because it's you just can't control things too much in a race like that. So yeah, that's an interesting observation that I think a lot of people could benefit from, is just trying not to care too much in terms of their racing.
It's also super fascinating that you mentioned music, because I have found more, I would say, than running and biking, although it does happen from time to time, a specific song will get stuck in my head. Like that happened at Ironman California. I don't remember what it was, but I remember like kind of humming this tune and being like, oh wait, I should actually sight for a buoy. but like that happens, and I don't understand exactly why. I guess it's like the timing of it, and maybe if it's around the timing of that song or something like that, then it just, I don't know. The brain is so fascinating when it comes to swimming. Self-awareness, what you're talking about, getting in the flow. Yeah.
I find that if I'm listening to a song on the way to the pool when I'm training, if there's a song that has a similar beat to how I'd swim, I'm singing that song all the way through the main set.
Yeah.
There's one that I put to an Instagram video. It was Justin Bieber's Daisies, I think it is. It's
okay.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It's got like the tempo of it is pretty similar to how most people would swim. It was kind of like maybe like a 60 or 70 stroke rate or something like that. But just having that in your mind can help a session go pretty quickly. But it's good because it's like you want to make sure that your stroke rate doesn't drop off too much, especially in a race, or go up too high. So you can really just keep that stroke rate where it needs to be with a good song. So it's worth hunting for one and finding one that you like.
Yeah, I feel like a super fascinating study would be to take a group of participants, have them listen to different types of songs at different cadence or different tempos, and see how it affects like the nervous system, like breathing, heartbeat. I don't know, certain synapses firing, and see like how it affects, because I'm sure it has some level of effect. It has to. Just a random thought. Yeah.
I got I think they're called the Shocks Open Swim Pro. Or,
okay.
Yeah. Like the headphones, the bone conduction headphones. I've got the swim version of them, and I've just started to use them here and there, and it's pretty good. Like if I'm listening to, there's like an artist called Jack Botts. He's kind of like an acoustic, a little bit like Jack Johnson in a way, but really sort of chill. And I love swimming aerobically to him because it's just very relaxed, and there's no tension. I can relax through there. And then I've also got Linkin Park on the same thing, and it's like, all right, I can push, but then it's very hard to swim aerobically listening to Linkin Park. So I think it's good to have those different options. But certainly the way that I'm sort of approaching it, I'm much more aggressive when it comes to listening to Linkin Park and swimming. But it's good, it just helps you get out of your maybe your normal zone or normal way of swimming, and especially when you're trying to fire up for a harder session.
That's so cool. So on the topic of self-awareness, though, we were talking a little bit ago, like you don't want to be too hyper self-aware of all the different parts of your body, I guess, because then you could become overwhelmed. But truthfully, and I don't say this to be just like judgmental, but you can take a look at people and kind of know how they walk, how they run, like what kind of level of self-awareness they have with their body mechanics and things like that. And I think part of it's like a gift that you get. Some of it can be trained. But how do you, like, for instance, like with your camps, if you notice someone who's really struggling with just form and technique, and they just really struggle to have that self-awareness of like what their hand's doing or what their foot's doing, how do you begin to teach that, to like shift your consciousness to your external limb over here or whatever?
That's a good one. So quite often the way that people approach other things in life is how they approach their swimming. And the one that comes most to mind there is someone who has just been used to just banging their head against the wall or just like forcing things. And someone who's used to like just putting in as much hard work as they need to get the result in work or whatever it might be, they do the same in swimming. And so someone like that is typically going to swim like they're on this windmill sort of stroke. They're very rushed, and it's just all muscle. And so like I saw that last week on this camp that we were running, and so we had this awesome couple from Australia, and with the guy, he just swims very short and was like, there was no extension, no glide, and it was just like in and rip hard. Strong guy, but just like he could really just lengthen out and get twice as far with every stroke he was taking. And so we're doing a swim back to where we were staying, and he started just by rushing the stroke, and his wife gave him a nudge and said, look, slow it down, just like lengthen out, there's no rush here, like just stretch out. And he did that, and then he pretty much like kept with the group for the last K there, whereas before he was kind of getting left behind. And so it is hard when someone's approach has been like that for the last 60 years to muscle things and getting them to slow down. So it's like, I think just getting them to realize that can help a lot. So I've often had people like say, like I'll say to them, like, you're rushing things, you're muscling it. And like, yeah, like I tend to do that with work. I'll just, I'll do that trying to solve a problem. So trying to get them to identify that first is the first thing. After that, it's really just breaking it down with some drills or some skills. So for example, if we're doing sculling out the front, someone who's approaching their swim in that tense and muscling way, they'll just be like this. It's like, all right, hang on, just soften the hands, soften the wrists, soften your forearms, and just slow it down. And I want you to see if you can feel that water on the hand and on the forearm. And then, it might take a few goes, but they can get there. And then we want to try and carry that into the swim. So I do like to break it down with some drills or skills, get them to make whatever change we're trying to make. And then we go, all right, let's try and carry that into your swim. Another thing we did on the camp was we would do 200 to 300 meter swims, break, and then go again, but we'd have them change their focus each time. So we started from top to bottom. So we got them to focus on their entry, reach, and catch. And I'd give them a few cues there. Then we go into the head, then we go into rotation, and then posture, kick. So we kind of go through it that way. So just having them bring that awareness to all the different parts of their body, help them do it as well. And then also just showing them video of how they swim. And it's really obvious if they are muscling their stroke, especially if you compare it to some of the other swimmers who might be long and gliding. And and then they go, okay, well, shit, if they're swimming twice as fast as I am, and I'm putting in as much effort as I can, like there's obviously something I'm doing wrong. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. But I think it's really just showing people that you don't need to approach it like you do with other problems in life, because swimming's so technical that it's not going to work for you necessarily. Where it can work on the bike and it can work on the run to like really go hard.
Yeah, especially on the bike, I feel like it works so well because there's already an engineering system put in place to where like if you apply pressure, like it does the transfers. It transfers the energy, relatively cleanly. You can come at it from like an angled pedal stroke, and that can be bad for your knees. But for all intents and purposes, like the engineering system is set up to where you can have like a very solid efficiency rating when you're transferring that energy. But with water, because there's no physical connection to your hand, really, you have to like understand intuitively, I guess, through a lot of experience, like how you apply that. Because I was recently in Puerto Rico and for a wedding, and we went swimming, and there were some sea turtles. And like, if you've ever watched a sea turtle swim, it's just amazing because they're like not moving at all, but the curvature of their fins and the way that they approach, like there's no angle to it whatsoever. It's like these very soft curves that just like the way that it works. But when they want to pick it up, like it's the same movement, it's faster, but it's not like they're not kicking up a tailwind behind them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They can do it with like such little effort. And one of the things that I really took from last week's camp with Sharon was she would always just say, like, if we're doing these TheraBand exercises, she's like, make sure, relax your shoulders, like just relax it. And she'd grab people by the shoulders and just try and really get them to relax through there, because everyone's like, they're up here. But also she's like, you've got so much power through this part of your stroke. Like you've got way more than you need. You don't need to use it. So I think that just that message repeated again and again helped a lot of people last week, that you've got more power than what you could actually use. So particularly through the catch, she just says like you want sensation, and then you want to start to apply a bit more force through there. And this is, this is the Olympic champion who's just so efficient, and the way she moves through the water is incredible to watch. But that message of you've got more power than you need, you don't have to use it all out in front here, I think really sunk home for a lot of people, because she's got the credibility to match what she's saying too.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because like what you're talking about, like the power of the stroke, like right here being the most powerful piece, I'm thinking of boats. So boats are so terribly inefficient. Like in their engine, they use so much fuel most boats with the propeller design, and it works. It's great. Like nobody's having to, eat a bunch of, it eats a bunch of gas, I guess, but they don't have to worry about like, oh, it's running too hard for too long or something like that. But I feel like the boat needs to be reinvented to some degree, or the engine, or how you propel yourself through water, like some kind of a fin type of a system that could be a little bit more, I don't know, like a sea turtle.
Yeah, well, I saw something about a new propeller design that they've made that's something like 30 or 40% more efficient, where it's like a normal propeller, but it's, I don't know, they've done something different to it. But I think it's just very costly to make at the moment. But yeah, it's like it already loses so much efficiency with its current design. So I think they're onto it. They've just got to make it more affordable.
Yeah, no kidding. So really quick, the sensation part, like you're talking about the sensation of like your hand gliding, not getting too far up, too far down. Like, is that what you mean by sensation before you like start to gradually go down and then you start to pull through the power? Is that what she was talking about?
Yeah, so we were going through, firstly, before we did the TheraBands, she would just take people through the catch and the pull. So we'd stand up, we'd have the arm extended up here, rotating on the side, and she was very big on making sure that you're rotating the right amount and rotating at the right time. So stand up, rotate, reaching up here. As you go through the catch, it's sensation. And I think she's using that word to show, well, you want that sensation of pressure on the hand and forearm, but we're not trying to power ourselves much there. So it's sensation through the catch. Then once you get through here, as your hand's coming under your shoulder, she spoke a lot about making sure that your shoulder's down and back once you get to hand in line with the shoulder, and very much about having like the lats being used here. So we did a lot of TheraBand exercises where she worked on shoulders down and back and being able to feel the lat being used in these different TheraBand exercises. So it's sensation at the top, shoulders down and back, have that lat really switched on and using it there. And at this point, you'll be back to flat as your hand is coming under your shoulder. And then as you finish the stroke, you're going to rotate onto your other side, and it's like a tricep press. So you'll be using your triceps through that back end of the stroke if you finish it really well and finish it past the hip. So we'd go through a lot of these movements where you go through it slow, make sure you're rotated, all right, at the right position. You want to sort of feel those different sensations, different muscles working. And then we get a TheraBand, hold it with one hand, the opposite hand, and then we do the same thing, but you're now going against that TheraBand so you can feel the sensation and those different muscles being used. So really breaking it down and going through it slowly, and we'd help kind of adjust people's form so that they could do it. Doing that out of the water, I think, helped a lot because there's so much going on when you're swimming, but if you can't do it right out of the water, you probably can't do it right in the water. Yeah. And what we saw with a lot of people was how they were doing it in the water is how they would do it out of the water initially. And so that's why then we change it, and then they can really start to change it once they're swimming.
Yeah. As you're saying that too, it honestly reminds me of like how a clutch works almost to a degree, because when you're talking about the sensation of your hand and your forearm, like you need to almost get up to speed of where the water's moving first before you can apply that, like have that connection to apply more pressure to get you a faster speed of where you were before. And like you don't want to slow down too much in between. That's what the stroke rate, I guess, comes in. I could talk about this all day. It's fascinating to me.
I don't know much about clutches, so I'm curious to what's the similarities there? Like
so in a clutch, so the engine is moving, right? Let's just say 100 revolutions per minute. And to switch gears, which is a bigger gear to go faster, you have to disengage the transmission where that power is going to be applied from the engine to the axle or whatever, to wherever your tires are. So the engine's spinning, and then the clutch is not, but you apply the clutch plate to essentially spin up that next gear to get it to match that same revolution, and then it engages. And then you can have that gear plus, some more power. And then if you drop out of that gear, you keep going. But the idea is like you get up to, 100 revolutions, you're going 60 miles an hour, you apply the clutch. You want to keep that speed kind of still going up a little bit before it starts to slow down. That way you don't lose speed when you're switching gears, if that makes sense. So whenever I'm like focused on like, I need to swim faster, a kick after the wall, if I'm doing fast 100s, like, 115 pace, 110, whatever. When I go off the wall, I'll accelerate a little bit, but I realize like my stroke rate is slower on purpose. At least this is how I've done it. Slower when I'm leaving the wall, and then it speeds up as I get further down the lane because I'm speeding up again, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You're the professional here, so you have to tell me. But that's kind of how a clutch works, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's I think there's a lot of similarities there with how we want to be swimming, and we did quite a bit of work on changing gears in the water, and how to approach it. And so Sharon was like, she talks about it as like zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you've got 7, 8, 9, which is like your really sort of short and fast stuff. But like zone 1, she's just like, this is your like very, very easy, just almost recovery sort of pace. Zone 2, you're working on. She was really big on working a lot of zone 1 and zone 2 stuff. And especially when you're in zone 2, it's like longer strokes, lower stroke rate, and you're trying to maintain a good amount of power in these strokes. Because if you can hold more water and you can like have those longer, more powerful strokes in zone 2 and train that, that's really going to help you get to zones 3, 4, and 5 and be able to increase your speed. So especially when you are going easier, don't try and rate up in those ones, because you want to hold as much water as you can, cover as much distance as you can, because then you're going to have the power and the technique to be able to increase your speed when you do start to increase your stroke rate. So I thought that was really good, and a good message for people to hear as well. Especially typically, triathletes will think about getting the rating up, which you certainly need to do in racing. But if you can train in those longer, bigger strokes, you're going to develop the muscles and the strength and the stroke to be able to be effective with that higher stroke rate, especially when it comes to racing. So I thought that was quite a good one.
Yeah.
For people.
When you talk about, holding or grabbing more water, like is that a literal thing? Like if you are more intentional about without breaking the surface tension, like if you go a certain way, not too fast, but also not too slow, you can bring more water with the hand. Is that what that's coming from? Yeah. Like, is that scientifically proven? Can you show me that on a graph?
Yeah. It's, I guess it's more so about, like to travel further with each stroke. Firstly, it's minimizing drag. So making sure that you're streamlined. That's number one. Then the other part of it is maximizing the propulsion. So obviously that surface area, hand and forearm. So how effective you're being with that. But then also how well you're connecting that arm with the body. So making sure that you're like using your lats and using your triceps through the stroke, and how you time it with that stroke as well. So you could have a really good catch position, but if it's all out of sync, it's not going to be connected with the body. So there's quite a bit to it, but that's what I sort of talk about. That's what I'm referring to when it comes to covering more distance or holding more water. It's being able to tie all those things together, as opposed to, as opposed to like just a better catch position, because there's so much more that goes into it. And so, because I've had swimmers who have, let's say they've come to a clinic and they've worked on their catch and they are getting a terrific catch position, but it's out of time with the rest of their stroke, like they're catching too soon. They're just not getting that far with it. But if they were to time it better in relation to their rotation, that they're going to get so much more from that good position. So it's not just body position, it's not just catch. It's like, all right, how are you actually tying those things together? And you normally can feel this sort of stuff. It's like, actually, I feel like I'm getting quite far with each stroke I'm taking. And that would be reflected in your stroke count that in the laps that you're doing too. Yeah. So, lots of different parts that go into it. But I think people generally have a generally have a pretty good sense of that stuff if they've given a bit of thought and attention to it. Do you feel like that's something that you feel when you're swimming well, like you're covering good distance with each stroke?
Yeah, like I didn't even honestly even know about, a DPS set or anything until like a year and a half ago. I was swimming with one was an Olympian and one was probably could be an Olympian. And they were like, oh, we're doing DPS. I was like, oh, cool. What's that? So that was the first time like a year and a half ago that actually got introduced into my understanding of swimming. And I have done I don't regularly program that, but to answer your question specifically, like, I don't know, like, yes, I guess so. I spent some time with Nicholas Chase, who was my coach a while back, and we were swimming open water, and he was on a paddleboard next to me and just, having me focus on, try to, what you're saying, be powerful, but through those long strokes. And I did feel it then, but it felt so not effortless, not to use your brand too much, but it was not effortless swimming at all. But, I don't know, when I race, I guess because I'm just calmer, like I feel like I am going pretty fast. So it's, I don't know, man, I haven't figured it out. I feel like it comes naturally to me more than it does most people. And I don't say that to like brag, but people say that quite frequently. And I'm trying to understand, like, can you just be born with something like that? Like, does it just come naturally to certain people? Like, how do you teach that to people? But to answer your question, like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, certainly some people have a much better feeling of the water generally. And I don't know if that's from maybe having more experience as a child or they're just a bit more relaxed once they're in there. I don't know what it is. There's probably a lot of factors there. But I think a lot of the stuff can be taught, especially if someone's getting in the water consistently. Like one of the questions we got quite a lot last week was, should I do like one really big session a week, or would I be better doing like 3 swims? And I think like that consistency of just getting in regularly makes such a difference. And we had 2 weeks in the Maldives a few weeks back with some camps. And myself and the other coaches would get in the water at 6 o'clock every morning and just swim around the island. 1.8 kilometers, like not huge, but we'd just kind of go around the island fairly comfortably. And I came back from that camp and jumped back into my squad, and I was absolutely flying. Like the first session back, I was swimming so well. And it was less swimming than I'd normally do in a week, but because I was in there every day, I think that just helped with that feeling and sensation. And and so I think that consistency is a big one for swimming, especially for the feel for the water.
Yeah, I think that needs to be talked about more, because I see so many people are like, oh, I got to get in 25,000 K a week. And there's something to be said about the endurance, I guess. But honestly, man, like I went from going into world champs a year and a half ago, trying to do like 10, 15 K a week. And honestly, into this Ironman, I was doing like 6 to 7, but I was increased the consistency. And I swam by far my best that I've ever swam in an Ironman. And I was like, okay, this has to be changed, because I feel like I'm probably overtraining, or I was overtraining. And I don't know if everybody can say that, but I'm telling my athletes now, like, consistency over quantity, I would say every day, because everyone gets so obsessed with like, oh, I got to get above 3K. Oh, I got to get 4. Did I have a 5K day or whatever? And I guess it's different for every type of sport. I wouldn't tell an Olympian that, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, especially for the your average person who might only be getting in twice a week. It's like, you'll probably benefit a lot from if you can get in 3 or 4 swims, and even if they're a bit shorter. I think you'll really feel the difference there. Because anytime I've done a bigger training block or multiple days in a row, like it's just you really start to connect with the water so much better when you do it. So I mean, it's whatever you can fit in. Some people are busy, as I understand. Yeah. So, you've got 2 other sports to think about too. So, it's whatever you can do.
Right. So, let's talk about your podcast for a minute. You have, I think, 350 plus episodes now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we're nearly at 400 now.
Nearly at 400 now. Okay. So, that's a lot.
We started a long time ago, and I'd have to look at when the first one was, but it's probably 13, 14 years ago. Okay. And I had a coach back then, like a business coach, who's like, I think you should start a podcast. And I thought, Jesus, who am I to, firstly, who wants to listen to me talk about swimming? Like that imposter syndrome, like, who's going to want to listen to this? But then I got introduced to through a friend to an Australian Olympian, Michael Klim, who was making a comeback that year. So he was in the 2000 Olympics. He was like one of the golden swimmers for Australia. But he was making a comeback in 2011, 2012, I think it was. So now I invited him on the podcast, and I was so nervous getting him on because I'm like, oh my God, this idol of mine.
A legend, yeah.
So, and it was just like, I was stiff as a board. It was just like, I had these questions and I just looked at them and I asked them and then waited for him to answer. I can't bring myself to listen to that episode. But, it's just like those things that are maybe a bit uncomfortable. I look back and go, well, now I'm like, a podcast is easy to do, even if it's with someone who's an Olympian. It's like, yeah, okay, I still get a little bit nervous talking to them, especially if they're someone who I've looked up to or idolized, and maybe I don't know that well. But I think I'm so glad I made that decision to do something that was uncomfortable, because now, in terms of just being able to chat and to converse and to do something like this has paid off a lot with coaching and other things, and also just the network that you make and the people that you meet. So it was a long time ago, but I'm glad I made that leap.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like you're catching up pretty quickly. So and you've only been doing it a couple of years. So I probably should get my act into gear a bit more.
No, man, not at all. Because I think what you do so well, like you put out very consistent, at least from last what I saw, like very consistent get content on the video side, analysis side. And it always amazes me, like how much traction your stuff gets. And I guess like you just really have cornered a market so well on people want to learn how to swim better and faster. And I honestly would have never guessed that there's that many people out there who care that much about swimming. To be honest, I mean, I'm very naive, but it's quite mind blowing. So right on to you. Like I think it's amazing that you've been able to do it for so long and continue to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I always look at things from the lens of, could I keep doing this for the next 5 years or 10 years? Like, could I keep up this schedule for the next 5 or 10 years? So, if I do a podcast a week, if I do a YouTube video a week, and I have my team do our Instagram stuff, like that to me is very sustainable. So I can keep that cadence going for a long time. So I've tried to keep it pretty much an episode a week. And sometimes we miss it, but that sort of consistency I think has helped. And there's a lot of people out there who, even whether they're triathletes or not, there's a lot of people out there who want to learn how to swim, but it's just so confusing. Like they think, oh yeah, I'll be fine. They get in, they completely blow up after 50 meters, and they go, oh okay, there's more to it. And there's millions of people across the world who are in that sort of in that zone. So in that experience. So and for me, I really like freestyle as a stroke. It's like that's my favorite stroke. So I'm happy just talking freestyle, and that's obviously what most beginners want to do. That's what most triathletes want to do. And anytime I've done content or podcast that's like deviates too far from that, or sort of anything triathlon related, it doesn't do that well. So I've just tried to get really good at a very specific part of swimming and just talk about that. And it's lucky that I enjoy that. If it was backstroke or something, I'd be like, oh, geez, all right. I probably would have stopped. But I really, really enjoy it. And I think there's so much I can still learn about it from other people, and so many other things I can take on board and teach, different cues, different drills and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So I think that's why I've been able to keep going. Plus I've got a team in place that helps me do all of this too. So that certainly made a difference. Like if it was just me, I think I probably wouldn't be able to put out as much as we do. But with a team, it certainly makes a difference.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I have a selfish question. Like when did you get to a place where you realized like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start formulating a team to make sure that, I can keep up with these things? Like, was it a financial point? Was it a time point and you leaped out in faith to set up the team before you had the finances to necessarily like truly support it? Like, what was your experience?
Yeah, I think it got to the point where like we were getting it wasn't even many, maybe 6 to 10 like inquiries a day. But then I'd go 3 days and I hadn't replied. And it's like, oh, there's 30 emails I've got to get back to. So from memory, because this is a while back, it got to that point where I'm like, I just need someone to help me with that firstly.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where it's like, all right, well, I've recorded these podcast episodes, but I haven't put them out because like I just feel like I don't have the time to edit them. So let's just get it in place, and then that'll free me up to do some other stuff. So I can't remember whether or not it was a financially good decision or not back then. It probably wasn't, but just got to the point where like I wasn't like I was stuck, because it's like, well, I've got to make a decision here one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like, and like the people who I've got now have been with me for like, I don't know, maybe 8 years. So I had someone for about 6 years, and then I had another person for about 8 years, and they're still with me. And the others have been with me for maybe 5 or 6 years. So yeah, I try and like find good people and train them up, and and just bring them into the fold. And because I want to work with people for a very long time if they're good people. Same with coaches as well. One of my coaches has been with me for 10 or 11 years, and just like, I don't know, I think if you treat people well, and I think I'm a pretty laid back kind of boss in a way, maybe too much at times, but just kind of giving people autonomy over what they're doing. And it comes into coaching as well. It's like, well, look, I could tell you what to do, but if you can own that decision, then you're more likely to do it. So I think my coaching approach is like, all right, this is what might need to happen. Like, how do you think you can get to this point? And obviously they might need some input from me, but it's like, I'd much prefer them to have to sort of come up with the answers themselves a lot of times, and that way they're more likely to do it. Because I've found that for me, it's like, if someone's told me to do something, my immediate reaction is like, bugger off. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But if they've asked me certain questions, and I come up with a solution myself, I'm more likely to do it. So I've tried to take that into my coaching. But then on the other side of that too, coming back to like learning from, say, Sharon on this trip, it's like, it doesn't hurt to be direct as well. Like, it can really pay off just to say, like, all right, you're over rotating, like half, you only need half of that. Just short, simple, direct. That's also good. So I think that's probably one of the things that I could improve my own coaching, is more of that directness can be very useful at times as well.
How does that come into play with your leadership of a team? Are you good at that?
I'm okay at it. I think I could certainly be better, especially in terms of like vision, where we're going and that sort of thing. Like, I probably could communicate that sort of stuff a lot better, because I've got it up here. I know where we want to go, but then just verbalizing that's probably not my strong point. So I've tried to do a better job at that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself. I don't know. But it's like,
that's usually the case. That's usually the case, I think, with most people. You got to usually worry about the people that are saying that they're great. So my next question is like, are you a good leader?
Am I a good leader? I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so, but there's a lot of stuff that I could improve on. So yeah, I don't know. I'm reluctant to say yes, because I think I just see the holes in my game. But then, based on like having people who have stuck with me for a very long time, I'd like to think I'm doing something right. And it is nice to have like other coaches like approach me and say, look, well, I'd like to work with you, or do something with you. So something in like that's like, all right, well, maybe there's something that I'm giving off that's like, appealing to other people. But I don't know. I don't like to think too much about it, really.
Yeah. Do you feel like you don't like to think about it, but do you have because most of us do have a pretty loud inner critic. Like, do you feel like you have a pretty loud inner critic?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I do think so. I guess I see all the stuff that I could be doing better. But I don't know. On the other side of that that too, though. I'm like, well, like at the end of the day, it's like if you've done your best, then like that's all that really matters. And most of the time, any frustration that I have often comes from if I feel like I could have done more or could have done better at something, or I haven't delivered on something that I've promised for someone in the time frame that I've said I'd do it in. So that's probably where any sort of frustration comes from. But I think the good thing about that is obviously, well, if you care, or I care about it, so that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Sure.
Whereas if I'm like, well, it doesn't matter if I promised to do this and didn't do it, well, like there's a problem there. So yeah, I don't know if that answered the question at all, but
yeah, that answers your question. That answers my question quite well. Thank you for sharing what you did. So let me ask you this question: who do you think is most proud of you?
Probably two people come to mind. Like one would be my parents, I think, because I feel like they did a good job of raising me, and they would certainly be proud, and like they've said that quite regularly, which is nice. Awesome. And then probably my wife as well. Like when I first started Effortless Swimming, she was working full time. She was the primary breadwinner.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, I wasn't bringing in much at all. And we got to that point where we were going to have kids and she wasn't going to be working. So she's like, you either have to get a job or you have to make this Effortless Swimming thing work. And so, yeah, all right, well, time to do that. So anyway, we'd like put the head down, and for the last 10 years, it's really grown, and we've made it work. And she's now able to stay home with the kids. And so I think her as well would say that. So yeah, probably those two more than any. And like I think in the grand scheme of things, like there's not a lot of people who like really care about what you're doing. Like it's just going to be family, maybe a handful of friends, and so it's like, all right, if I can make those people happy or proud, then I feel like I've done a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm. So as a husband and a father, how good does it feel to have something that you created be self-sustaining to where you can provide for your family?
It's make me think about all these things that I've just kind of like pushed to the side, you know? Yeah. it's deep questions. Good work, Seth. That's what you get when you've done so many podcasts in 2 years like you have. Hey?
I know, we're going off script. I want to get off the cuff here. I want to get all the off the cuff stuff.
Telling me, geez. Like it's really nice to have the freedom to do what I'd like to do and do it when I'd like to do it as well. And it's something that, like, when I was 21, I sat down, wrote a list of about 12 things that I want my life to look like. And one of them was like kind of being able to surf when it's good, to work with the people I want to work with, and choose to do the things I want to do. And it's taken a very long time to come to fruition. But I mean, I've certainly worked hard at it and thought about it for the last 17, 18 years of getting to this point. So I think I probably neglect to think about how long it's taken and the amount of work I've put in to get there. But certainly when I speak to friends and stuff like that, they're a lot of them are not jealous or envious, but they're like, man, that'd be real. I'd love to be able to do that. So I think just kind of hearing that from them, because I've been doing, like, you know, when you're in something, you don't really notice it so much when you're in the thick of it. But when I hear it from them, it's probably like, yeah, you're right. Like, this is actually pretty cool to be able to do this, and to have a bit of an audience online and to be able to do something I really enjoy, which is not necessarily the case for everyone. So I probably see it more through their eyes than my own, just being in it. Because you still have problems. You still have like things that come up and things you've got to fix and all of that. So I guess I'm in the thick of it and don't step back and notice that quite so much. Yeah.
How old are your kids now?
9 and 7.
9 and 7.
Yeah, 2 boys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they're go for
wild at the moment. But they do like swimming, and they're not bad little swimmers. But I try and trick them to swim better, because they don't listen to me. ever. So it's like I'll try and trick them into becoming better swimmers or wanting to like learn more or get better at it.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
we might have competitions in, all right, who can get the furthest off the wall? And
Yeah.
or I'll say, like, they've got a friend of mine that they look up to who's a coach. I'll say, Big Sam said that if you do this when you're doing freestyle, like, you go way faster.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, cool. And then they try it. It's like, so
Yeah.
it's never coming from me.
Yeah.
So I try and try and trick them.
Yeah, that's fascinating. It is fascinating to me. So my wife's pregnant. She'll be 23 weeks with our first kid. And so I've been thinking a lot about,
Congrats.
the motivation. Thank you. Thinking about the motivations and how they change it from an individual from, 1 to 3, like you're saying, 3 to 7, I don't know, 7 to 13. Like the things that motivate us and the perspective we have, it changes so drastically. Like even me from 20 years old to now 33, the things that drive me are so incredibly different. And I'm trying to think of like, well, how do I understand truly the motivation of an individual, especially a kid, because there's some things I think that are like, oh, well, a 1-year-old needs food. So that's the motivation, or like that kind of stuff. But like to truly know a person or your kid, like what do you have to observe to like tune in to like how you feel the water, tune in to like know your child enough to know, oh, well, what's that motivation coming from? So it's cool that you're figuring some of that out.
Yeah, it's good. It's good fun. And I think for me, it's like the thing that's one of the things that's changed the most is like I care much less about what other people think, and more so about like what do my kids think of me. And part of that's also in like how I dress if I'm going down the street. It's just like I've turned into a total dad. It's like I couldn't care less like how I look. Whereas like 10 years ago, before kids, I was just like, I want to make sure I don't look like a complete bum as I'm going down to the shops. But now I just like I don't care.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the biggest thing.
It's so funny you say that because this morning I was thinking about a similar thing because I had to go pick something up from my wife's work actually to plug this sign in. She let someone use this charged cord for something at a wedding. Anyway, I went to go pick it up. I'm obviously very sore. I was wearing sweatpants, socks with flip-flops, like this long sleeve hoodie with this way too big for me Eddie Bauer coat and like a Precision Fuel and Hydration beanie, and I look with glasses. And I looked like absolutely ridiculous. But I got out of the car, kind of chuckled to myself, and went to go buy a donut because that's what I wanted on the way home. And I was like, I don't care anymore. Like, and that's a beautiful thing to be able to do that and not really care. Because people, I'm sure, were looking like, what is this guy off the street? Like, what's going? Yeah,
but it's. I mean, I look at my parents back when I was a teenager, and they're exactly the same. And you go, I can't believe.
Yeah, I can't be in public with you. Like,
yeah. But now you can see it. You can see it, and it's a beautiful thing when you're the one who's in that frame of mind.
Yeah, it's so cool. Just a couple more questions for you. So 2 of them are pretty deep, so prepare yourself. What is something difficult that you're going through that not many people see?
It's probably at the moment it's building our like swim equipment, goggles sort of side of the business. So like what I've done forever is the swim coaching. We do our camps and clinics and all those things. And like that I can do with my eyes closed because it's been 18 years of doing it. And then 6 months ago, we started like these anti-fog goggles and other things. And it's just a whole different side, a whole different business that I'm not used to. And it's not my specialty. So like there's been a lot of challenges with that, and it's like I'm putting in a lot more hours than I have for many, many years, just trying to work through these challenges that we're having. Like, like the US tariff stuff came in, so we had all these US orders that we couldn't send, and then we sent them out, and then they got returned because something wasn't right on the forms, and so it's like, just like that's one example of things that have
Like
come
customs
up. So,
and border,
all that sort of stuff. And then, there's manufacturing issues and all this sort of stuff. So it's actually that's probably my biggest challenge at the moment that I wouldn't normally verbalize. It's just like, all right, let's just get going because complaining is not going to help. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is probably one of the more challenging things that I've been going through recently. Yeah. And because I'm quite lucky at the moment. Like family's all healthy and that kind of thing. So there's nothing like there that's existential. That I'm having to, yeah. So yeah, it's a good problem to have right now,
Yeah.
but certainly frustrating at times. But you just got to keep going.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No, manufacturing a physical product rather than a service is so crazy. I had an opportunity to do it in a few instances. None, I would say, super well, by the way. But manufacturing, it's like, well, you get something, you plan for it, and then you get it, and then you're like, oh, well, this isn't right, and now we have thousands of them. Like, what am I going to do there? Or the Customs and Border Patrol. I've dealt with logistic nightmares during COVID for that kind of crazy stuff. So I can empathize with you a bit. Like, yeah, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about the anti-fog goggles in the last few minutes, if that's okay. Like, obviously you saw a need, you're filling that need, but how did you even come to a place where you had the faith and courage, I guess, to step out to chase this part of a new business line of revenue, product, service? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I got sent a pair of these goggles, and I was like, oh, I'll give them a try, because it's something that I've always dealt with, especially going on a lot of overseas camps where we go to these really nice locations. There's fish and there's sharks and there's turtles, and goggles are fogged half the time, so I miss half of it. So it was a problem that I was having, and I got sent these goggles, and I was like, man, this is actually really good. And so I was like, all right, I'll buy 60 or 80 of them, and I'll offer them to our swimmers. And then they sold really quickly, and I thought, oh, that's cool. Like, a lot of other people are having the same problems. So it just kind of took off from there. And it's really started to grow and bigger than what I had expected or could have planned for. So now it's just kind of dealing with with all of that, and then everything that goes around it. So, but I really like it because I really like the product. This like new anti-fog technology has only been around, I think, about 2 years, and it takes twice as long. It costs twice as much to produce. So it's like there's some issues with that, but it's like I think for people who are in the water a lot, like they enjoy their swimming so much more. And I find the same thing if I have to go back to an old pair of goggles. I'm like the fog, I get really agitated by it now. Yeah. So like it's a product I really believe in, and I want people to have. So keen to really just get it out to as many people as we can.
Yeah. With the technology, is this something like, it's not a film application? Is it a material science difference? Like, what is it? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah. So like how normal anti-fog's like this gel liquid stuff that they'd put inside and then it would dry, but eventually it's going to just, wear off the lens. But this new technology is, they do I think it's with like a laser. They like cut these very fine grooves into it so the water's attracted to it. So you wet the lens first and the water's attracted to it, and then it creates a film of water over the lens. So it's like this thing they actually do to the lens to make the water attracted to it. And then that's why it lasts about 10 times longer.
That's
so
cool.
And it's noticeably better.
Yeah.
So I'll have to send you some out. We've got some new ones coming 2 weeks time or 3 weeks time, so I'll send you some out. And let me know what you think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're selling them now, I'd be happy to link them in the show notes. I'm sure people are going to want to look at them.
I'll shoot you the link, but we can't send to the US right now, but in 3 weeks we will be able to. So
okay, nice. Nice.
Yeah, we're getting that sorted.
Yeah, well, if you need help with smuggling, I'm your guy.
Yeah, sounds
That's
good.
cool,
Don't
man.
put that part in.
Yeah, exactly. So one more question for you to close it out. And it's a selfish question because you are a father of two. So I'm going to be a dad before too terribly long. What kind of advice do you have for me on being a dad?
I think probably one of the mistakes that I've made is just being on my phone more than I should, being around the kids. So what I'm trying to do a lot more of is just like put the phone away, especially after say 5 o'clock, just so that I'm more present with them. It's very easy, especially when they're young. I mean, when they're a baby, like they're not paying too much attention. And I think that first 6 months is just, for us, it was just survival of the baby and of ourselves.
Yeah.
But then when they get a bit older, 1, 2, 3, they're really much more aware of what you're doing. So yeah, just getting off the phone more and being present would be probably the main one that I feel like I could have done a better job at. But anyway, that's the power of hindsight.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for that. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for taking the time, sharing your journey, talking about swimming and what you're doing. Super grateful to know you and to have you on for a second time, even though it's been 2 years. Hopefully the next time it won't be so long in between. But thank you for your time. And yeah, dude, it was an honor and a pleasure to get to chat again.
Yeah, well, yeah. Thanks for having me on, and I'm just so impressed with how well you've done over the last 2 years with the show.
Thanks, man.
That many episodes, that many like top level guests that you've had on is pretty awesome. And I had someone actually mention your show last week who was on the camp. Her
no
coach
way.
is non Stanford.
Stanford, yeah.
Yeah. And so she said, yeah, she was on the she was on your show. I was like, there you go, like small world.
Yeah, it is
So,
a small world, man. It really is. And no one's figured out that it's not really that big of a show yet. So people keep saying yes. So I'm very fortunate. But yeah, Don's awesome, and you as well. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate the affirmation. It's been fun, and I'm very blessed and honored to be able to do it. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Seth. Good to chat.
Great conversation with Brenton. Oh man, I have to say, I love the new guests and having fresh people on the show for sure. But there is something to be relished and enjoyed about having someone on who is a round 2, round 3, or plus interview. Just getting to have a little bit of that rapport and connection and go a little bit deeper. Super fun. Obviously, love talking about swimming because I like swimming a lot. And what Brenton is doing over at Effortless Swimming is helping a lot of people to enjoy it more. So if you are looking to enjoy some swimming some more in your life, make sure to check out their stuff. It's really good. And Brenton's obviously a really nice guy. Yeah, good advice for me on how to be a better dad or prepare to be a dad. Stay off my phone more. I think that's something I'm going to definitely put into practice because it's something I've been thinking a lot about as I have observed some of my friends and family who have kids be on their phone quite a bit. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting because I can watch the kids' behavior and how they watch their parents be on their phone. And, it's interesting. I'll say this last thing. There are some studies put out, and when Colin Chartier and I talked about this, but the link between ADHD and other just developmental abnormalities, the connection between those and early stage childhood and the parents' connection physically, like eye to eye connection with the kids, and how that can be related to having issues. So more connection with your family is definitely important. And I take Brenton's advice to heart. So thank you guys for being here. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Look forward to connecting with you in the next one, and we'll catch you then. See ya.